Hey, Carly O and Lola, and we're the Shady Ladies. We're a couple of love coaches that love to sit on the patio, drink champagne, and talk about sex and love and relationships with no shame. We're here to help you to keep it exciting.
Hello, everybody. We're here back on the patio talk with the Shady Ladies, and tonight we're talking about when is it time, the warning signs to get divorced. Warning signs is what it's all talking about. Sorry, I had to have a drink. Just saying.
This is a big topic.
Who doesn't drink when you know you might get divorced? That's all I'm gonna say.
No, it's a big topic. So we want to kind of narrow it down a little bit, and then just talk mostly about, you're in a relationship and you're wondering if it's the right, like, is it just me? Is it just them? What's going on? There's some issues here. I know there's issues, and who's right in the situation. So we want to talk about some signs.
And unfortunately, with divorce, nobody's right or wrong. It's just like, but you have to go back to like the thing is when you have those red flags, is it pretty much probably time to divorce, and who's going to be hurt, who's not, and I don't know. What do you think?
So when I got a divorce, it had been probably 5 years coming. And so there was just less and less involvement in me and the kids' lives. And it to the extent that he was a skier and I was the only one who was taking the kids to ski lessons.
That's kind of weird.
Where was he when you were skiing?
He, I believe, became clinically depressed and also agoraphobic, kind of couldn't go. He didn't go out of the house. He didn't leave the house. So I went up and took the kids skiing.
And froze your ass off, I'm sure.
Twice a week for 6 weeks of skiing lessons, and it was very can you take 4 and 7-year-olds skiing by yourself? Well, yeah, now I know you can.
You achieved it, but you're never going to do it again.
Well, I'm so glad. I mean,
it's off
because
your bucket list.
right, but now they were very happy, but I did it all by myself for 2 years basically that he didn't participate. So it became a sticking point that there wasn't family participation. So
no co-parenting.
Exactly.
There's your sign.
Yeah, there was a sign.
One red flag, check.
Yeah, for sure.
We're back.
Yeah, so in other words, if you're doing this and you're doing the majority of it and you're so freaking miserable, that could be a sign. Obviously, you want to have some communication about it, and then if you see no change in that person and your partner, there's a sign, that you've tried to address this. You've tried to make them aware that, something is affecting you in a negative way in the relationship. And if you see no change, big red flag.
So I have a question. So, okay, skiing is one thing, but I'm pretty positive there was probably other things that were red flags. So what were other triggers to make you realize that it was it's that time?
Besides the lack of participation, there was participation in many other events that weren't related to the relationship. So
Like single, like being like not single, being like doing things on his own, kind of.
yeah, he was in a band, so the band had to go. And the band had to play, and the band left the family.
So you were kind of like
family behind.
You were kind of like roommates, or he was renting a room when you were kind of like a single mom, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and there was really a small amount of discussion as far as what was going on, and I had a class that I was taking Monday and Wednesday nights. So then he said, well, then I'm going to take Tuesday and Thursday nights and do these, band practice. So then 4 nights a week, there was there was no
nothing.
participation.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then Friday and Saturday were the nights that the bands played. So It was difficult, very difficult.
Back. Okay. So basically, it's kind of like, was there like a lot of change in behavior? Because I'm assuming like as it continued, like you get more comfortable in what you're doing, or he did, or she, like, right? It was kind of.
Yeah, it was more of a gradual pulling away and a non-participation where there was just two parents who were co-parenting, which is sort of a divorce situation already.
Yeah.
So there was a co-parenting situation as far as we were
Roommate.
Yeah, I was going to say
and
roommates.
it's sharing responsibilities that and this man is a great dad. He just was not a great husband. So and he changed as far as his goals and the band might have taken off.
And
Who knows?
it's called our values and our priorities change, and then somehow if it's more important, you kind like whoever that is gets kind of like not just you, but the whole what he visualized probably changed.
Right.
Yeah, so if you're finding ways to avoid one another, that might be a sign. Just saying.
Or
if one is.
excuse me, sleeping single in a double bed.
Well, I had also lost my job in the downturn of all the markets, and
Goodness.
so
maybe feeling a little insecure, and then you're kind of like the staying at home, doing the homemaker kind of / thing.
right,
maybe?
had a job starting at the first of the year, got laid off and had November and December off, which should have been a good thing, and took the kids skiing and had a good time there. But there was no family aspect of it. It was kind of a when are you gonna get a new job and participate in the financials here? And then it was,
So
January
basically,
1st.
He wasn't your wingman, is what you're saying. And that's what I always go back to that. If you're not made wingman getting into it, we can't be wingmans ever. Because if you don't sign up for a wingman,
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Wingman is gigantic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I had
It's
unemployment. We weren't going under at all. It was.
He's not your wingman.
I think it was jealousy that I had free time, and then I said, take a day off and let's go. Take a day off. Let's take the kids skiing, and then it wasn't a.
That's a good thing because that is that.
Even though I had a job lined up.
Those person, you don't like a time as far as meaning that you really and be a nasty but not really because it's like you should be grateful for whatever you were doing. Like sometimes you give 30%, times you give 9%. It's about that too. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah. So when everything's hard in your relationship, that can be a sign. You're not matching up. You're not meeting each other where you're at. There's not a support system. There's not a wingman.
Right.
I think that's huge. So interactions aren't positive, and when you do have interactions, it's fighting. That's kind of a sign, I think.
I have a question though on that is, so you know how some people, when it's divorce time, people never argue. Did you guys argue or did you not argue? Because some people shut down to the point where you never, and that's even worse.
Yeah, it was definitely a shutdown because it was he had enunciated his disappointment with my unemployment, and I said I'm bringing in almost as much in with unemployment, and I have a job starting in basically 2 months. So here's my chance to enjoy a little bit of winter time, take the kids skiing, take the kids here and there. They were 4 and 7.
Yeah.
They're preschool and second grade. So it was very odd, and I didn't expect that.
Do you think he was just trying to provoke you a little bit to try to rally you? If it's okay, you're doing the best you can, but then you're he's kind of trying to make you feel whatever to provoke you to get mad or something, or just defend yourself?
I don't know. It seems like we both just were giving up and checking out.
Yeah.
And we had planned this whole because I was taking this class in case I could get a job, Monday, Wednesday, he took band practice Tuesday, Thursday, and then there was no family time. Mm-hmm. It was 6 to 10, my class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was no family time Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday we had, skiing and this band.
Yeah. So do you think there was ever like a moment where you just had like this gut feeling, like this is not going in the right direction?
Well, I was like, this has been 20 years.
Oh,
I don't
wow,
want
okay.
to spend. I spent 20 years with this, and I don't want to spend 20 more.
Yeah.
The next
definitely
20
not.
years need to be different than
Yeah.
this past 20 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I ask you a personal question? So for 20 years, how much of those were you okay with, like personally? Or you knew, like,
Probably 15 of them, because we had 10 years without children,
oh,
and then
And then
had
children.
10 years with children.
that's
or
good
so.
though.
He's a fabulous dad,
Okay.
and
Okay,
we've
that's
always agreed on how to parent the children, but we because we checked out and didn't have any fights, there wasn't any passion left, there wasn't anything left as far as anger, and there was just a little disappointment as far as
Well, nobody wants to get divorced. Nobody wants to, like, no, that's, I mean, like, I know a girlfriend that's gotten divorced 3 times, and she's been, she's Catholic, and she gets that, like, you're not really married.
annulment.
Yes, that word.
Oh.
Like, legitly, you
Oh,
can get
goodness.
annulled. Like, you can get annulled, and I had no
After
idea.
7 years.
I know, yeah, and like for legitly, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but because that's an important thing with what they believe in or whatever. But the thing is, I mean, do you regret ever not getting to say something to them, like that you wish you could like have closure? Do you feel like you have closure? I mean, that kind of thing too.
I feel we both had the agreement of, I think I'm done. And
That's good.
yeah, I think I'm done. And so we both moved on, where we had the split custody, 1 week on, 1 week off.
Which is
and
good.
yeah, but at that point, he had
Yeah.
to start showing up to all the
Yeah,
kids' performances, and
It's
I
called-
wasn't the family
Yeah, you're-
representative
you're
anymore.
You're not the mom and
So,
dad.
yeah,
You don't
he
know if you
had
should
to-
wear a
he
blouse
had
or
to
like
show-
a tie. Or
He
like
had
a-
to show up.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
good.
which is amazing,
yeah,
which
exactly.
is really good. And you don't want your kid to sit like if they're in sports or something in grade school, you don't want to sit. Like, who am I going to pick and choose who the parent is I have to sit by? It's called you have to. It's not the kid's fault, so you
No.
have to make it.
However, I wasn't the representative, and he had to
Good.
come to the
Good.
performance.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
It's good. So
Good for you.
co-parenting, and so at
Yeah.
least you had similar parenting styles,
Oh,
and I
yes,
think
yes,
that
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that was
it's
that
definitely
helps.
not a problem.
that helps so
Yeah.
much, because I
Yes.
think a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh.
women have such big hang-ups over whether they want to leave, but they're not sure if they should because there's kids involved.
It's like,
Should I stay or should I go?
I should.
Very tough.
Yeah,
Very
it is. It's a really. It's not something that anyone should take lightly. And in my situation, the dad we had drastically. I didn't realize we had such drastic parenting styles, but boy, the gap just seemed to widen and widen and widen over time. And I'm just realizing that, how much
While still married.
out of touch, yes, while still married.
Yeah.
And, I think as I grew my voice and started speaking up about things, we realized how, well, I realized how vastly, it was like the Grand Canyon across, how vastly apart, our parenting styles were. And so, that was a big sign. And I think that should definitely be a sign in the future. Yeah. So co-parenting, can be, really difficult. And I think as the kids get older and then you realize that someone is showing up for them and then the other person isn't at all,
Yeah, and
It
you're the only one.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it causes kind of
might
a
be
little,
a red flag.
yeah, or like friction and a little bit of nastiness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after you got divorced, how
And
did it?
disappointment for the children.
Oh,
That was the biggest thing. I
absolutely.
was just like, holy cow, I'm standing
your
here.
dad loves you, but they didn't
But
come to your
they
performance.
come to anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess you go after divorcing and things. Did he kind of try to co-parent, like, and support you with, or
Well, I think each person is, it's very different for everyone. But I mean, for my situation, I thought that once I said no more, I'm done, that he would kind of step up and start co-parenting. Holy heck, that was wrong. Don't go there. I was so wrong.
That would be the opposite, is what it's called.
Because
Just saying.
the narcissist man will continue to be narcissistic, and it's really only about him, and it's really only about his this and his that and his special workout and his special job and his special things that he buys for himself, and the kids get stranded.
And unfortunately,
it's very sad.
Which is so sad, and I'm so sorry for that, because unfortunately, it's not just a his or it's a his and hers, because there's people out there in both ways, because these moms that come up and they show up they're at the PTA meetings and whatever, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, I'm going through my midlife crisis or whatever. We all have heard those stories too, so you kind of got to look at that maybe too. It's kind of like, I mean, it's like, it is what it is, but. And my note is, like, when I got divorced, I I told my kids, you never have to sit at you don't have to pick where you sit, because that's exactly what I said. Because it's like they were in baseball, cheerleading, whatever. It's like I promise them that if we're going to be all together. And funny thing is, but then what's hard when you find somebody new in your relationship, and I've watched it even with my ex-husband, and they bring people in and like, why are you sitting with your ex-wife? Why are we all together? Why are we having family things? It's like, you guys are freaking fucking weird.
That's a whole
I know.
nother.
It's like
it's a no-win. No-win situation.
But what's beautiful it is that the two of us, besides one crazy lady that my ex-husband dated, we have stuck with it. You know, we can have family reunions together. I don't really care, because it's like, it's not about us. It's about the kids. We don't want them to have to feel like they have to choose who they sit by. Oh, I'm sorry that we're over in the opposite team because we hate your dad, mom, and whatever that looks like, or whatever.
Right.
And gosh, I'm 25 and it's the best birthday ever. We just you celebrate it, you live it, you love
fantastic.
it. So it's called adulting, but it is the hardest thing I can honestly say you have to do sometimes, because then you see this girl walk in and she has better hair than I do, cuter outfit, bigger boobs. Screw you. But you know what? I am the divorcee, and I don't really care, and I'm the ex. But it's called about your kids. It's like, your kids get older, they get it. But it was when you're in your mid 30s, you're like, screw her. Now I need a boob job, or I need to get an outfit.
But the narcissist is totally different as a ex.
Yes.
Because that's not going to be a good anything.
Right.
No,
it isn't.
No.
It's all about the one.
Red flags.
It's all about them.
Yes, you can't.
Red flags is you marry this person, you divorce this person, but there's still that same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to live with them if you had kids with them.
Right.
And even though mine was sounds like sunshine, I know that in my heart, and I'm sure that he has lots of stuff to say about me, but he stopped growing up, when you talk to people, that whole thing, he can't, he stopped growing up at 28. He still wears his hat on backwards. He still wears his sleeves up. But he's super smart, and he has a great job and stuff. But, I'm kind of I don't really...
There's a maturity level that's
that. What is that
not
called?
happening.
It's yes.
Maturity.
Yeah, it's called
Adult.
you stopped, you're 28, you're whatever that, but everything else is great. And so at least you make money, you can take care of your kids, you can do whatever. But that level of where I'm attracted to of everything in life is at 28. And so I don't know what that. I haven't researched enough to say you're.
It's almost like an accident where
it didn't happen.
He had a brain trauma at 28. He's
And
always 28.
Dear journal.
Yeah. I mean, I think these are all awesome warning signs. I think, with us just sitting here, we've all had different experiences within,
and listening to others by far.
Yeah, choosing divorce, post-divorce, it's different for everyone. So I think that's part of the thing that makes it so hard to decide, because no two stories are the same. It's not like it's black or white, because it isn't. There is so much gray in there. And, I really thought that the problem was me. And then I realized I was married to a narcissist.
It's called the guilty blame game.
Yeah.
And what I think would be awesome is if everybody that has a story, I don't care if you're a man or woman, because I know that women are not always amazing either, even though we all are. We all are.
Absolutely.
But
This isn't a man-hating show.
we
for
are
sure.
perfect by far. But if you have stories, because I have we've talked to a ton of men about this, and there's stories that they tell, it's crazy. But we would love to hear them. So we're gonna do a link, and we'll we want you to, or whatever you need to do. But we want to hear it, because we want to share that stuff, because you're not alone. It's like I think in this world we're not perfect at all.
Yeah, we definitely want to provide a platform for that. One thing that I think that I have seen common with women is once the woman loses respect
Is done.
Exactly. So once the woman loses respect for the man, it's over. There's no coming back from that. And I think that once the woman says the word done, it means done. Like it's really just done.
You have to say in the right way, but yes, but it actually is. It's done. I just met with a girlfriend the other day, and she's spent 30 years of her life, and she said it. Her word was her word, and she has like the most amazing family, everything. But she knew she was done, and she goes, when you can't fix it, you can't fix it. And I think that was the best wording I've ever heard. And
yeah, I think that when women speak, it becomes truth, and it is what it is. And we just don't usually come back from that, I think. And another sign would be like when your friends and your family are maybe sending you some warning signals that something's.
But if you're in that moment, they don't listen. So we got to argue with that one. Like, it has to be when you're done, you're done.
Well, no, I mean, it's
Lola.
definitely up to you. But sometimes there's people
You
that are
do
giving you
go
warning signs.
backwards and think, this
It's-
is what happened
no,
at Thanksgiving.
we're
This
a-
is what
we're-
happened in Christmas.
We're a
This is what
fixer,
happened.
and we're a fixer. We got to fix something. We got to somehow we can fix this. We're like the fixer, and I'm not even a baker, and I don't want to like I feel like a fixer is you're doing this with your you're making something freaking with you're doing cookies or shit. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. When you're done, you're done. I'm like,
Yeah, and I think one of the things the stopping point where a lot of women get up against is, oh my gosh, if I end this, I'm going to be alone. I'm so scared. I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life.
or a failure.
Women think that, and that is so not true. There is so much support around you. There's so many people who will help support and be around you, and you have
all
us.
the people who agreed, all the
That-
people who didn't like him.
That was something wrong. Hey, I had
man.
that.
all
It's
the
like-
people who said there was red flags.
Holy cow!
right?
I had so many of those.
But
come
you
out
never,
of the woodwork.
but you never listen to him because it's like somehow I could save them. It's not true. Or oh my gosh, I just don't want my family to fail. It's totally it is exactly what it is.
Yeah, and so
Welcome to life.
being happy is far more important, than being in a miserable, maybe even toxic relationship that could even be abusive. That's another thing we didn't cover.
And
Happy people don't lie.
You may need to protect your children
Yes.
at some point. If it's
Yep.
if it's unhealthy for the
Yep.
children, then you really need to look at yourself.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen for them?
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Yeah.
And so studies show that women who never remarry after they have chosen to get divorced tend to be a lot happier than the ones who stayed. So it's okay to be alone.
Love it. That should be a quote, and we should make that for Christmas for everybody.
I like that.
Amen. On that note, we're ending this conversation in a positive way because we support everybody that can get out of something that's not healthy and not like a good habit. But we also know how hard it is. But you know that you can come to us and
But we're
like
here.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Guess I'm gonna have to have another cheers drink. Bye. Cheers. Drink it.
What